So hello, if you haven't come across my video, my name is Chico and thank you for watching. Just remember, as you're watching this, remember sharing is caring, sharing is loving. So I'd like to hear your comments as well on anything that you have learned, and even if you share, that would be fantastic, because we never know who may need to hear certain things and how it can help people. So today, the topic that I've chosen is on fibromyalgia, and that's something that's very close to my heart. And the reason for that is that I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, which is a chronic pain condition, and quite a lot of people do suffer from this condition, especially chronic pain in one form or another. And for the people who are watching with chronic pain, I just wanted to share some useful tips of what has helped me. So how I became, like my story, how I became diagnosed by this condition was about 3 years ago. 3 years ago, and it seems quite a while now, but it was a long, drawn-out process. And hopefully some of you can relate to the experience of going to doctors and asking like what's wrong, and then being told it's one thing or another. So I had that experience of feeling lethargic, feeling like overly sensitive to like the cold, and then also feeling like the feeling of feeling lethargic was more about feeling low of energy and just feeling really tired like most of the times. Then I'd also notice that as I was walking up the stairs, I wouldn't, from the day before I'd be energetic, then the next day I'd be super exhausted. So it didn't really make sense to me, because I used to be quite energetic and also used to be a jogger. I'd wake up in the morning and I'd run, even if it was like a slow pace, I was still like really energetic. And that's how I'd start my day. So when the condition started, I usually connected it with the winter, and that would be like my trigger point. So for anybody watching this, you might also relate to this, is that the cold or the damp weather or the rain can trigger certain conditions, can trigger like the pain. And for people who are suffering from like arthritis as well, that's something that they can associate with, it's the cold weather. So that's how mine started, and I went for so many investigations. But then ultimately, a lot of things were like ruled out, and then I was informed, due a test, which was like a pinpoint test, that yes, I counted as one of those individuals who had pain in about, well, over I think 16 points of my body. And that's how I got diagnosed with fibromyalgia. So how it impacted on my life is that I had to adjust drastically. And part of that was mindset, and the other was like physical. So this is a transformation that most people go through. And the experience, if you're going through this, may feel like loss. And it's the same exact thing I experienced, but what I've learned from this process is that it's a transition process. So although it may feel like loss, also it can be something that you are gaining. And it didn't take me a while to understand that, is that I needed to slow down. So my tip number one, if you can, any way possible, try and slow down. Try not to be too difficult on yourself, especially when you're slowing down. As I've discovered, is that many of us are energetic, or we're used to having things in a certain way. So when you start to slow down, what happens? If you can, I had to make that choice for myself, and it wasn't an easy one. So slowing down, forgiving yourself is quite key in terms of taking care of yourself. Do forgive yourself, especially if you're not able to do certain things in life that you were used to doing. And why I'm saying that it becomes something that you feel like it's not a loss, because eventually you start to adjust to a different type of lifestyle. And everybody adjusts differently. But what has helped me is coming to acceptance. accepting that I couldn't be the same person anymore, that I had to slow down, and then I had to forgive myself when I couldn't do the things that I wanted to do. Then the other thing as well is I started to surround myself with positive people. What I mean by that is, or what I mean by it is surrounding yourself with people who've got like a positive outlook in life. And what that has enabled me to do is that I've set routines within my daily life. And that's number two, is the positive outlook in, in terms of your surroundings, your environment, and people who are around you. And then what it's enabled me as point three is to have daily routines set in place. And in the beginning, it was not easy. But what I've done is, and where you may take this as probably something that you may want to try, is that I have an hour allocated each day in the morning as much as possible. But if I'm not able to, then I fit it in any other later time in the day. So the morning routine will consist of, for instance, I will meditate. And in the beginning, it wasn't easy because I know one of the symptoms is cognitive misfunction. So when we have those days, it can be brain fog, can be very difficult to manage. But having that routine where it's meditation, at the moment 10 minutes that I do, then I go into like yoga and Pilates as an option within the hour period. 10 minutes again. Then the other thing that I'll do as well is positive affirmations. So the positive affirmations and declarations are more about the way I think in my mind about pain, for instance. So I try as much as possible, not even try, say it out loud, that today is going to be a good day, and today I'm not going to suffer from any pain. And then I link it into things that I want to achieve in my life, such as thinking in abundance, thinking that anything is possible, and also thinking of ways that I can actually live a different lifestyle. So on top of like the affirmations, my last point would be on how I had to make a decision that my work environment was not conducive for my environment, or no, was not conducive to my health. And even environment, how it was not helpful for me was that it was a fast paced environment, and I had to decide long term, was it going to be beneficial for me in terms of my health? Even if I worked part time, was that going to be beneficial? So, yes, I appreciate that there might be that fear, and it's not for everybody to make this decision. But ultimately, I decided that I had to leave. Not an easy decision, but I had to live in terms of looking after myself and find alternative type of, work lifestyle. So I decided that what would be most suitable for me when I could eventually find it was to be able to like work from home independently and a flexible lifestyle. So those are the tips that have worked for me. And it hasn't been like an easy road, but what I can say is how it's benefited me, and hopefully some of these tips will help you, is that I've learned in combination, it's minimized my pain factors. Because I also, one of the things that I didn't want to do was take too much medication and be dependent on it. But I wanted to find natural ways of actually healing myself. Then I nearly forgot one of the other ones that is so essential. It's about nutrition, what you eat, what you feed yourself, because yes, it's a struggle. And I decided to seek detoxification. So every day I have a routine of detox. Doesn't mean I deprive myself of food, but it's just a way to drink lots of water and have healthier juices, green juices, and also the meals to consider that. So I'll just summarize the things that have helped me, and hopefully you find this information valuable. So, number one, if I can keep track of this, and hopefully you've also given track, is rest. Slow down as much as possible. Listen to what your body is telling you. Okay. Number two, forgive yourself if you can't move at that fast pace. Eventually, you will start to appreciate that, you know what? Are these things actually an emergency, or can I do without them for the time being? Like cleaning. What's the worst that could happen if you don't clean? You can let go. And then when you're able to do a little bit and then come back to it a bit later. Then daily affirmations of gratitude or even declarations to say this is how your day is going to be, and also being around people who've got a positive mindset. Then it's number four, looking at your environment, deciding whether that environment is healthy for you, especially if you're working. Long-term goal or short-term goal, is that going to benefit your health? And if it's not, and if it's making it worse, is there something that you could do as a goal to work towards to find something more suited where you can still give back but do it